What's up, guys? Mike B.A.K. Phony here, and this is the Ascalon Catacombs. This is a level 30-ish dungeon available to players in Guild Wars 2. And what you're looking at here, this may be a little confusing, especially if you're watching this after you've already played the game for several hours, like in the future. This character that I'm playing right now is the Necromancer, and I've only played him for about maybe an hour. When I walked over to the actual instance entrance, there was this NPC that you could talk to, and he just says, oh, here you go, level 30, and then you just, you're level 30, and you have all of this gear and everything. So I just slapped on everything that it gave me, and hoped for the best as I entered this dungeon. Again, with very little understanding of even my class abilities. I did a lot of jumping around in the limited amount of time that I was actually able to play the game, like a lot of jumping around. Played probably about half the classes. I posted a poll on my Facebook page so that people can kind of give me feedback on what they want to see the most of, and then I kind of mixed it up a little bit with some of the things that maybe people wanted the least of, because I figured, you know, the ones that people want the most of are the ones that everybody's gonna be doing videos on. So I just wanted to toss it up just a little bit. Now, what I learned as I was going through this is that the red circles are bad, the white circles are good. So this is something to keep in mind here. There you go, I rolled out of one. I still got hit with something. I spent a lot of my time actually retreating, mainly because I'm standing in stuff that I probably shouldn't have, or, you know, not knowing what it's like or what it looks like, what the tells are for whenever you get hit with something. So here I am switching over to my Death Shroud, still standing in the red circle like an idiot. Can't get out of it fast enough. And this is, like I mentioned on my BFF report, this is a good way of mitigating damage. Whenever you flip over to your Death Shroud form, you end up not taking damage in your, I guess, your human form. So I spend a lot of time, you know, healing myself and then taking damage and then flipping over real quick to the Death Shroud form and then going from there. On the ground, you see a couple turrets. One of them's a healing turret. One of them's a, I think, thumper turret, which is like an offensive turret, I believe. I don't know what the other one is. My mouse might hover over it at some point during this. I try to hover my mouse over a little bit of everything here just to kind of get an idea of what it is that everything does. Keep in mind, again, a lot of us here are new, and the players I'm running with, I think a couple of them, I'm fairly certain 2 of them, at least, minimum, are actually devs. I know one is for a fact, but he was talking to somebody else while we were in vents, and so I can only assume that that was another dev. So I think he was the top character on the left-hand side there, the female character, the top one. His name is Rose in HOT. You see her walking around right there in the front. That is, I can't remember his real name, but he is the lead system designer. And I cracked a joke on him. I was like, so you live in spreadsheets? And he was like, yeah, pretty much. My life is in spreadsheets. He essentially helps dev, if I recall correctly, he helps develop the stats and numbers and all that stuff that you see, that you don't get to see, that play obviously a key role behind the scenes. The lower left side corner there, that's where the chat bubble is, or the chat area. I actually have that blurred out only because there was a lot of people talking in guild chats, and those were like other press members. So I don't want to have them, you know, they're asking questions and stuff like that, and I just kind of want to leave that stuff. Let them have their privacy there. But you could still see whenever somebody says something in the upper left corner where the party frames are. Those party frames, like right there. Okay, this part is tricky. He's going to explain what to do during this part. So I'll read it for those of you guys who maybe aren't into reading. See the red circles there? Those are traps. And he's gonna walk across someone, or somebody's gonna walk into one here in a second and just take it right in the arse. There we go, just like that. So of course I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna be just time it, not stand in the red circles. I still kind of took a little bit of damage there. So the boss comes out, or the mini boss or whatever, and notice I'm not even actually aiming at the boss, but I'm still able to interact by throwing things at it in that general direction. This is what I was talking about during the BFF report, where you don't actually have to have something selected in order to actually do damage to it, as long as you're aiming in that general direction. Granted, the actual abilities for casters might be a little awkward because you're ranged, so as you're moving around, you're switching targets quite often. But the majority of us here are actually ranged, so, and there's only one target, so this is actually kind of easy. Death Shroud form, again, that ability I just used, it was like something grasp. where I cast a circle on the ground, and the next time something walks into it, I am ported right into its face. So I can see how that could be kind of helpful in some cases. It's essentially a trap, but the trap part, that's the part that's sprung, is actually me showing up. Like, what's up? I'm Death Shroud in your face. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point. I'm just picking up boulders. He says I have to use it for a switch. So apparently everybody picked up a boulder. This gate opened and closed. That character right there on the left that we just passed, that's an NPC that's kind of running with us, like our guide. So I drop a boulder on this switch that already has plenty of boulders on it, and the gate stays open thanks to my boulder. And then this happens. Lots and lots of fire everywhere. I couldn't tell at first if this was coming from a single NPC or what. But then he says, we have to disable a trap. And I'm like, a trap, huh? Wait till we go inside and you see what it's like. Some gargoyles on the wall. Yeah, this is the stuff that everywhere. There's just things. So I'm in panic mode because I don't know what to aim at. I don't know what to shoot at. Healing turret, I'm like, heal me, heal me. And then I take it right there. Lots of red, again, just trying to get around it. I have an ability that I'm going to be switching to use. You see in my lower bar there, I think I actually have to switch weapons in order to pull this off. But it's a wall, and I'll use that in a second. It's a wall that I think it does damage to, think Magica. Whenever you post like a firewall or something, that will do damage to enemies, but also protect you as the player. Again, I'm just running around standing in white circles, and obviously red ones, trying to figure out which ones are the ones that heal you. I think the ones that heal you are the ones that have little green centers to them. But as of right now, it's just kill everything that I can target, and that's pretty much what mode I'm in right now. Here in a second, I'm going to heal myself, and the way that the Necromancer's heal works is they deploy a floating little, demon type thing, and then it does damage. And I believe the more damage it does to something, the more healing it's going to do to you. This is very similar to if you play WoW, Death Knights, Blood Death Knights. They have the little maggot or whatever that comes out, and it gets bigger and bigger, and then it pops and heals you or something. Very, very similar to that. Right about here, I think I should post this wall. You'll see some guys come out, and I panic again and just start throwing it. Spectral wall. What's it right there? Spectral wall. So I'm like, bam, what's up? I just saved the world, and then I just roll off onto the edge here. Very, very effective player I am. You see, I got a shield on me, and I wish I could have more time to actually play with some of these mechanics, but when you're trying to get as much information on as many different characters as possible, damn, it's hard. What she said. All right, so a couple guys up there. I thought we were gonna go that way. I'm sure that if you come back and you're in like exploration mode or something, then you'll probably end up going back that way. Now, I didn't mention that at the beginning. There's a couple different modes you can actually go through and play these dungeons. There's your standard story mode, which is what we're in now. We're going through the story. We got a couple bonus side stuff that we're gonna do, and you'll see it'll pop up and say bonus something. And then after you complete it the first time, you actually unlock the ability to do the next like 3 different types or something, which is exploration mode, and they're like different challenges, different ways for you to complete the dungeons. Good way of reusing assets and just reusing new material. I mean, if they have the dungeon here, it's kind of like in other games where you have your hard heroic difficulty settings for the same dungeons. You can run them again. And there's like different mechanics and whatnot. Kind of similar to that fashion from what I've read, but other aspects that they talked about as far as the challenge mode is concerned is actually much different. Like, the way it sounds like, it almost sounds like in Warhammer, where you get like points for having a high score or something, like a challenge mode or something. It sounds interesting, needless to say. So I'm sure we're gonna see some more information on that coming out soon. I only got an opportunity to actually play through this once, so I didn't have a chance to actually go back and do it one more time to really get a feel for the other than story mode. Now you notice that it says Rose is targeted veteran. Oh, you can't see that part, but because it's blurred out. But whenever somebody targets something, I believe if they're like the party leader or something, then it'll give you the option of pushing T to select their target. It's basically like a built-in focus macro where it's whoever the main person is and they target something, then you hit T and you target them as well. Now back to the Necromancer mechanics. I'm sticking with this one because it's more offensive, but I do switch it up and go to a couple of different builds to try. The healing one, I think I panicked and tried to switch out of that, but I was in combat, so I couldn't. And what I should have done was actually have the healing one on my secondary. Notice I just changed my bars there by switching to my scepter, or my stave. But I should have had the healing one on secondary, that way I could actually go through and swap to that and try it out.
Ridlock, what are you doing here?
I came to stop you from inciting a full-scale ghost rampage. Why are you here?
I'm looking for King Adalbern's legendary weapon, the sword called Magdear.
Magdear?
So I had to skip it because people are waiting. And I didn't want to leave them waiting for too long. I actually already had to leave them before because for some reason, Mumble and Vent, when used in conjunction with the Guild Wars 2 beta client, shuts off the sound for Guild Wars 2. It's just a weird quirk that happens only with beta, I'm sure. So here he is, he's explaining stuff. So the next part is tricky. He spawns a bunch of ads. We have to take care of the ads, or else they will just continue to spawn. And I think I pretty much put myself on like, I want to say I put myself on spawn duty, on ad duty, but I'm pretty sure I just don't know what I'm doing, and I'm just gonna kill anything that my spells happen to hit. Again, I'm very efficient like that. Notice my Blood Fiend there, ready to hook me up with some heals. Sacrifice for Master. Somebody over here summoning a bunch of sprites, or I don't even know what those are, gargoyles or something. Story time. Here we go. The ads pop out, and then it's just business time. Effects everywhere. Now, a lot of people are asking me, what's up with the frame rate? My frame rate does drop to about 15 frames per second during some parts of these fights. It doesn't matter if I'm running at 720p or 1080p or 1600 by 900. It doesn't actually matter where I'm running at. So I feel like it could be a limitation on my processor, maybe. I also found that the demo, even though I'd indicated for it not to install on my primary OS drive, it did install my primary OS drive, but it is an SSD, so it's not like that really made that much of a difference, but it could have probably sped up some loading times. But as far as processing and the graphics card, I can tell you guys what I have. I have an i7 920, it's an older computer now, actually. She's like 2.5 years old, but it's a i7 920 story time, and a 5770 graphics HD ATI card.
Worry more about the sword.
Yeah, I kind of flipped through this real quick.
I sense Sahothan's presence. Your son is dead. Foul creep. You will fall.
That's the boss man, by the way. We get to fight him at the end. For now, we have to go and like take care of his stuff. Notice pulls enemies close, surrounds foes, or whatever. If you go back, read underneath his name, and under the names of almost all the mobs we fight, it actually gives you hints on what some of their abilities are. It's kind of interesting. All right, so now I am experimenting with different builds. Not knowing what any of them do. Just like, oh yeah, this looks good. I'll put some of this stuff on. Anyways, back to the computer settings or graphics and processing, all that stuff. So it's an HD 5770 ATI card, and I overclocked it just a little bit just to kind of squeeze a bit more out of this. I think I was at like 1400 and 900 or something by processor and memory. Just a smidge. If you look at your ATI overdrive, I bumped it up to probably about maybe 15% of the way, the distance you could travel on the slider. Can't remember off the top of my head because I actually changed it back because I started getting a little bit of stability issues. The processor is not overclocked. The amount of RAM I have is actually pretty, it has no part in this whatsoever. I have, I think, 18 gigabytes of RAM because I do video all the time. So since the game really doesn't need anything more than, you know, maybe 6. I mean, that's really pushing it. Probably needs like 3. The RAM really wasn't a limiting factor. So here's my wall again. I think I actually used it right this time. I don't know. The guys are taking damage, and my guys aren't dying, so I'm just gonna assume that's because of me. There's the green circle with the With the, I'm guessing that's heals. I don't even know, and that's the thing. Here, I run through. Can I take a tick? No, no ticks. It's a moonwalk, actually. That's it. There we go. This is a healing circle. So somebody's throwing around some heals. Or someone's thankfully taking up that role of keeping the rest of us in check. Looting is easy. Hit F. Just run around and spam F. You can actually right-click on them if you want to, but just spam F. There's no area loot or anything, but the fact that you can just mash F for days is easy enough. So this guy up here on the top, you can see upper right corner there. He's a ranged kind of archer ranger type boss. He's gonna stay over there and just throw stuff at us. And he's gonna, actually, if you watch up left corner, he's gonna explain it also. And then during some phases, he's gonna jump over and get in our face for a little bit while there are like ads attacking us as well. This fight was actually pretty easy, ish. It would have been easier if I wasn't spending a lot of my time rolling off the cliff and into the little chasm there on just the right-hand side of the stairs. That kind of hurt a couple times. Again, getting used to the class, man. Like, just the basic mechanics of moving the character and not, you know, double clicking on or double tapping any certain direction. So until we get his health down again. And then he'll move, yeah, after we kill the dogs, he actually jumps back to the center and he continues this cycle over and over again. So you gotta dodge. So yeah, I'm going through my abilities here. You can read the tooltips if you guys want.
Refreshing.
Story mode.
Your desire to destroy still unsatisfied, beast. Burning Ascalon not enough for you?
As long as you stalk us, we'll fight you tooth and claw.
Love the look of the movement, the animation on the mouth of the characters. Looks good. All right, so here we begin. Just start spamming that one button. Swapping it out every once in a while for some of the other ones. Again, a very relatively simple fight. Of course, it has something to do with the fact that our main character is like 15 levels above us, and the second character is I'm basically being carried here, guys. Like, really. I'm sure if we were all the appropriate level, small mistakes that I was making, like, for example, sitting here inside of the red circle, not knowing what it does, would probably end up hurting us in the end. So yeah, a lot of switching phases to Death Shroud. Like, that right there would have killed me. But instead I've just reduced the amount of life force that I had invested into the Death Shroud phase. And then this right here, that was me derping it up. I do that a couple times, pretend like I do it on purpose. You know, res my heal guy. Res or summon my heal, and then get ready to sacrifice it like almost immediately during some parts. Here we go, I picked up a rock. This is where I mean business, guys. Take that. Does nothing. Apparently, I don't remember this part. I guess I really wanted to throw a rock at this boss. There we go, immune. He's immune to rocks. Holy crap, he's a ghost, I guess. So maybe just, I don't know. Look at all the crazy, what are the butterflies or something flying around me? I'm getting heals by green floating butterfly things, which is, I mean, I'm not dissing it by any means. It looks sick. Again, the life-saving Death Shroud. I could, you know, if my level was high enough, I could probably mitigate majority of this damage and stay in Death Shroud form for longer, and essentially tank using Death Shroud. I wouldn't be surprised if that actually becomes a thing, or a possibility. Anyways, like if your tank dies and that's it. Just sacked my demon there. Needed that heal pretty bad. Hey, I discovered a waypoint. That's pretty handy. I guess the rock, I guess I needed another rock. I have no idea. But the boss is dead. The loot comes in the form of a box. You can also loot the body. So there's two different forms of loot. And I don't know if this changes when you switch from story mode to like any other mode. But you loot the body, you get loot. You loot the box here, you get loot. By the end of this run, I have so much loot. It's kind of ridiculous. But also kind of nice to not have to run something a billion times to get stuff. I must have picked up There was no roll, by the way. There was no like, oh, this gear popped up, roll for it. But I must have picked up probably 15 pieces of loot or something. Not every single piece was I able to use, of course. But I'm interested in seeing, you know, further how their system of distributing loot goes. Because right now, I just took like all the loot that, I mean, I don't know if maybe it's on free-for-all and I just took it all or what. I have no idea. But I'm sure we'll explore that a little bit later. Now, here's some interesting information while we're standing around trying to figure out what to do next. If you are a max level character, and I think this only works in exploration mode, but if you're a max level character, supposedly you get brought down to within a certain number of levels from the, or within range of the actual dungeon itself. That way you're not running through and just cleaving everything inside of a dungeon, just like farming loot or anything. Now seeing that my guy there is level 47, I wonder if his tool pane actually says effective level 36 or something. You know what I'm saying? So like right now, I'm level 30 and everybody there says level 37, 42, 46, and 33. Oh, that 33 is me, I think. I don't know. Oh no, that's not me. Still getting used to the UI, which by the way is great. I'm wondering if you open up their actual character pane, if it actually bumps them down a little bit to bring them in range of the dungeon itself to make it so they can't, again, steamroll it. So we just got done with some trash there. No big deal for this group. Here's what's interesting. I just mentioned the level thing, and I didn't notice before that, right? Because there's like flashing graphics and craziness all over the screen. I didn't notice before that it actually says level 30 by all of their names. So and an up arrow, which I guess that means that maybe they are higher level than level 30, and so we have indeed been pulled back. Interesting. That was I think a bonus right there. If it said bonus, and that was indeed a bonus. I was too busy looking at their nameplates actually saying level 30, which actually it goes against what Guild Wars 2 wiki said, the official wiki, which says within 4 levels. That's very interesting to me. More trash, more trash. You see it says drains life, applies fear underneath their name. That is a very, very cool way of letting you know what these things do without without making you pay to learn by just dying over and over again. Okay guys, this time let's go back and kill that trash mob because he has this ability that we keep on not seeing or whatever. A little low on health, swapping some stuff out. Oh yeah, so what I just had was more of a melee type build. Don't think I was a real fan of it. Yeah, swap out to whatever this, I think this is it the heal one? Let's watch the tooltips. Over that mouse. Come on, Mike B. See, steal life force from your foe with a slash. Siphon life. Okay, so this is more of a heal myself build. Right, exactly. And this is me going, crap, 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 I don't want to do this. No, story!
Why are you here? This is the land of ghosts.
Stand down, Spectre. We seek...
Yep, and then there's that. So yeah, look at the nice firewall there, like bell firewall. Just set myself on fire. Had to get in there somehow. No idea what the actual mechanics here are, but it shouldn't be too hard to figure out. Especially since you know, it's really just a whole lot of stay out of the red circles and focus on the thing that's doing all the damage. And if anything else pops up, kill those. Seems pretty straightforward. It even says summons minions, steals health from minions. So obviously you want to kill the minions, which is pretty much what I'm doing. I think that's what I thought I was doing. Yeah, bone minion. There it is. Okay, see, I kind of knew what I was doing. Now, you see where it says push F to control? So there's a gear above the engineer's head over there. He is actually using that thing to, I guess, lob those little mortar shells in. Kind of cute, just lobbing these little mini mortar shells in. So unintimidating. But still, a cool mechanic, right? Like you drop a turret and then you man the turret and then you go to town on these things. That's a very, very cool mechanic. Lots of bone minions floating around here. Probably should have spun around and taken care of those. Instead, I'm gonna go into this form. Now, what I'm doing right here, as I'm attacking, if something dies, then I get a little bump on that 4th ability. I haven't learned that ability yet because I can only learn it by actually using other abilities. Does that make sense? So as I use it, and say they die, I get a small bump in skill number 4, and then when it fills up, it then unlocks that ability. So think of this like in the old school, like WoW way of, or in most actually, most older MMOs, we have to like learn skills or up your proficiency in like various weapons. Well, here it's kind of like that, where if you arm a weapon combination that you've never used before, you will only have 1 skill. But as you kill things using that 1 skill, then you'll unlock skill number 2, and then 3, and then so on, and then so forth. This also is true for the Death Shroud. The Death Shroud has its own set of abilities that you only can unlock by actually being in Death Shroud and killing things. So during a lot of these fights, you're going to see me switch to Death Shroud mode right before something dies, and it seems very unnecessary. But the reason why I'm doing it is because I'm trying to get that last skill unlocked so I can see what it is. I don't remember off the top of my head what it is, but I'm pretty sure it's something probably pretty cool. It is the 4th ability, by the way. Oh, look, a boulder. I clearly need this. People are floating in the air. I think those are people. If you notice, there were like names of other players, I think. I'm not sure, actually. But we're in another boss zone. This one's actually really cool. I'm just gonna sit back and let you guys hear this one out once it starts, because the way that the bosses kind of present themselves is actually pretty sick. Here we go. Of course, I have my rock just in case. I thought that was kind of interesting, so I throw a rock. Lots of circles all over the place. I'm guessing that when I walk into these certain circles, I get various buffs and various benefits. Or, you know, if the red ones are there, then I get debuffs. Like right now, I have a fleet foot type setup. Probably give me a little bit of burst in speed, or maybe endurance regeneration. That'd be kind of nice. I didn't see anything that actually increased my endurance regeneration, but I can only assume that at some point there is something like that there. Now, this big circle here is actually being controlled by Champion Vasar, which is the guy I'm aiming at, but it's not red, so I think this is probably something that somebody casted on them, and as they move, then that circle moves. So anybody that maybe is within range of that person within the circle gets like X amount of bonus damage or something, if that makes sense. So these guys are pretty simple. I don't really know what the mechanics are yet of this particular fight, but I'm sure that we'll get more information on this as we go along. You know, jumping into it, we just kind of went in and just went at it. We had a little bit of help at the beginning, but then after a while, Rose there just stopped really giving us instructions, probably because we were clearly a competent group and we knew what we were doing, and I was really good at hitting that F1 button and saving my own ass whenever necessary. Red circle, dodge out of it. Green butterflies all over me. Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go. Look at 630, 1. I don't know if you guys saw that. Drop down to 1, hit that button. Save my ass. Now watch number 4. You see number 4 just bumped up right when we killed that guy? So I'm getting closer to unlocking that 4th ability. And I am still really low on health. I can see how Necromancers are gonna be just huge dicks. Just like, oh, I'm almost dead. Bam, son. F1. And they build up life force so easily. Just notice that little green bar right there next to F1 on my lower bar there. That green bar fills just whenever I hit something. Just throw things at things, and it's gonna start filling up with life force. And then once it's full, or actually at any point during that, that's basically just the amount of time that I have that I can spend in Death Shroud form. So it's not like I have to fill it up all the way to the top. I just use it whenever I want. Look at that. Me with a rock again, and my Blood Fiend kind of hanging out. "20 minutes later, we decide to actually roll out." I have no idea what took so long. But another waypoint discovered. Whenever you die, you have the option of going back to a waypoint, so you obviously want to discover those. Elementalist, Ghostly Firestorm, Mesmer, Dazes, Reflects projectiles. Unfortunately, we don't have any melee classes, it looks like here. Everybody's a caster of some sort, or an engineer or something. So we don't really have anybody kind of in these guys' face, just really laying it down. Lots of standing back and just throwing things. By the way, I mentioned my frame rate earlier, and I don't think I mentioned that it only drops this low. I should have mentioned this before. It only drops this low whenever I am frapsing. If I disable fraps, then it runs fine. But it's still not as high as I would get out of like World of Warcraft, which I know it's a stupid statement, but just so you gotta kind of have some bearings here. I could play Mass Effect 3, the demo, at 70 frames per second. I could play World of Warcraft at like 7,000 frames per second, and I could play Guild Wars 2 at about 50 to 65 or so frames per second. So that maybe gives you an idea of roughly where I'm sitting as far as what games can play at what frames per second, frame rates. Now what you're watching here is a bonus event. I'm guessing somebody summoned that cave troll and then we defeated them. Yay us. Just more XP, more money. Not a bad deal. Now this is kind of, I think kind of interesting. The amount of money that I just got from this at level 30 was 1 silver, 53 copper. I'm guessing that's silver. If it's platinum or some other form of currency, sue me. But it's $1.53 is what I got. As I was leveling, I was getting, I think by level 7 or so, I had about, and this is after buying a couple things, about 4 or 5 silver, or 4 or 5 bucks. So if at level 30, you're getting about this much money, it makes me feel like the scale is a bit lower. Like they went into this and they made it so that the scaling of we already know stats scale a little bit slower so that there's no like gear grind at endgame, which endgame is kind of a weird term here since everything kind of scales just dynamically. But also money kind of scales a little bit slower, so that way you don't have people just, you know, at level 30 being, you know, 50 times richer than somebody that's at level 6. Instead, now they're just like, you know, twice as rich or something. Story time. Keep it short.
What have you done? Your champions are gone, Ghost. Just like your son.
Yep. I mean business. Alright, so no idea what the what this guy's abilities are, but obviously he pulls enemies close and then he summons fire. You'll see a red circle pop up and then the fire will come down almost immediately. This is definitely a fight where I'm gonna do a lot of retreating, and actually at some point here I'm actually gonna die. And which is great because you guys need to see what it looks like to die and then get res again. I showed it briefly in the BFF report, but at least here you'll be able to see the full duration and what it's like to go into a down state and then into a permanent down state, or semi-permanent down states, and then to get rezzed. Very, very cool. So I'm taking fire to the face here, but it's cool because I'm in Death Shroud form, so I feel like a badass. Then roll out. My cooldown is back up. I'm gonna go ahead and summon, and then if I can hit that 6 again, there we go. A little bit of health, not enough. I'm taking a serious beating, and boom, right there, down. So this is the down state. I can still attack by throwing, you know, spells, whatever. Some people can throw rocks, but you notice I was still taking damage, and then I am now completely defeated. So as now, this is like beyond the down state, where I am in kind of a semi-permanent down state. And I say semi-permanent again because people are gonna come over and try to save me, but as they're channeling a spell, so there's Rose, she got pulled in, nice, nice. Come on back, hook me up, Rose. Oh, she's in trouble too, nice. Notice it gets really quiet too. So she's throwing me some heals, but then she's gonna take right there. Starts taking a beating. Now she's in a down state. It looks like we're in a wipe. It really does. At this point, it looks like we're in a wipe. I don't know what she did right there. I can only assume that she either res and like is running back, or she is using some, you know, some GM trick. There she is right there. She's back with full health. And now 3 people are actually on me. On the right hand side, you see another one. So you see just health, 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 and then boom, I'm back up. Looks like that was probably equivalent to about half my health before I'm actually able to res, and I res with half my health. Obviously, switch right back to this because this is where I could actually take a little bit of a beating and still dish out a good amount of damage. Just mashing keys. That 2 key I don't really use that much just because that's the one that I cast it and then I get pulled in close to the boss. And this is a situation where he's gonna do that for me anyways, so I'm gonna go ahead and just not try really hard not to get pulled in and get close to him.
You've defeated me, but what have you gained? Much deadlier things stir beneath us. They'll consume you all.
Magdare is shattered, but I know a blacksmith who can mend these pieces. For you, the sword would be...
What?
I thought it would...
Remind me of...
There we go. And I got a mask. Hey.
A long time ago, I led us into a disaster. He blames me. They all do. The thing is...
Being quiet, let you listen.
Right.
Refreshing.
There we go. All right, so that was pretty much the run for Ascalon Catacombs. You see, I got tons of gear out of this thing. Just a ridiculous amount of gear. I know not everybody was looting stuff, but again, I don't know how the loot system here works. I think that everybody just has their own loot table, so I just get to loot stuff, and that's it. I didn't see in the lower left corner where it said so-and-so got this item, so-and-so got this item. So you're not missing out on anything there. I didn't have the combat one opened, which is probably where it actually ends up sitting. Here's a close-up shot of my dude with my cool masquerade mask on. And then, of course, showing off a little bit with that death shroud, baby. But that's pretty much it, guys. That is the Ascalon Catacombs. That was the dungeon available for us in the press beta event. There's some water surrounding the area platform we were just on. I decided to jump into it. There was no mobs down here, but I wanted to jump into it just so you guys could see what it looks like when you're swimming underwater. And then when you come out of water, your screen is covered in water droplets, which is great. And then your bars change back over. Completely new bar set when you go underwater. Very, very cool. But that's pretty much it, guys. So thank you very much for watching. Subscribe, check it out. Check out this video on GameBreaker.tv. Check out the BFF report on Zam.com. Check me out, /AKMikeB or AKMikeB on Twitter and Facebook.